Friends, this story is about a boy named Aaron. Aaron loved hiking a lot. One day, he went to a place for hiking. We see that the place was completely deserted. There was no one in sight. No sound, just silence all around. While hiking, Aaron sees two girls walking in the distance. These two girls had set out on a journey, but had lost their way. Aaron approaches them and asks, "Can I help you?" He then helps them find the correct path and decides to guide them further along the way. As they move ahead, Aaron tells them that he knows another route, one that is even more fun and exciting. Curious, the girls agree, and the three of them start heading forward through the mountain pass. The paths are extremely dangerous and narrow. After a while, when they reach a certain point, Aaron suddenly jumps down from a height. The girls panic, thinking Aaron has fallen by mistake. But then Aaron calls out from below. It turns out there's water beneath. It was actually a deep pool. Laughing, Aaron tells them to jump too. The girls hesitate at first, but then one by one, they jump into the water. They all enjoy the moment together, laughing and splashing around. After having fun, they continue their journey. Soon, they reach a point where their paths separate. Aaron needs to go further for his hiking, and the girls must return home. Before parting ways, they take a selfie together. Aaron asks, "Will we ever meet again?" One of the girls smiles and says, "We're having a party tomorrow night. You can come if you want." Aaron smiles, says goodbye, and continues on his way. Aaron climbs further up the mountain, completely enjoying his hike, full of joy and excitement. But the path becomes even more dangerous and complicated. When he begins descending between two steep cliffs, he steps on a large rock that was stuck between them. As he puts his weight on it, the rock slips from its place and Aaron falls. The rock falls too, directly on his right arm. Now, Aaron's hand gets trapped tightly between the rock and the mountain walls. He wasn't badly injured, but his hand was completely stuck. He tries again and again to pull it free, but no matter how hard he tries, it doesn't move an inch. Panicked, Aaron starts shouting for help, calling out the names of the two girls. But his voice can't reach outside. The mountains are narrow and echoing. There's no one around, no people, no animals, not even birds. It was a place cut off from the world. Realizing no one can hear him, Aaron opens his hiking bag. He takes out all the equipment he has, determined to find a way to escape. Among his gear, he finds a knife. Using his left hand, since his right hand is trapped, he starts trying to chip away at the rock. But the rock is extremely hard, solid like steel. It doesn't even scratch. Still, Aaron doesn't give up. He keeps trying, sweating, trembling, pushing his limits. At one point, the knife slips from his hand and falls to the ground, just out of his reach. He can't move much, but using his wits, he manages to drag it back toward him. Once again, he starts cutting at the rock, desperate to free himself, but nothing works. The stone remains unbroken, and slowly, the knife's blade becomes dull, losing its sharp edge completely. Aaron realizes the truth. The mountain isn't going to let him go easily. But deep inside, he still holds on to one thing, hope. And as time passes, night falls. Aaron has now been stuck there for several hours. His mind starts to break down. He has no idea how he's ever going to get out. Still, he keeps trying to pull his hand free from the rock. Hours turn into the next morning, and now it's been 25 hours since Aaron got trapped. But still, there's no way out. After a while, he turns on his camera and starts recording. He says, "It's been 25 hours since I've been stuck here. Nobody knows where I am because when I went hiking, I didn't tell anyone. I didn't tell my mom, my friends, nobody. I have very little food left and only around 400 to 500 milliliters of water." As he records, he suddenly hears a voice from above. Thinking someone's there, he starts shouting for help as loud as he can, but there's no reply. His screams echo through the narrow cliffs, but there's no one around. It's just his imagination. Hours pass again, and night falls once more. Hunger begins to hit him hard. He eats whatever little food he has left. Then he remembers, tonight, the girls had invited him to their party, where there would be laughter, music, maybe even wine. He starts imagining that party vividly, talking to himself as if he's really there. His mind drifts back to the moment he left home for hiking. He remembers his mom calling him, the phone ringing, but he didn't answer. He never told her where he was going. If he had, maybe she would have tried to find him by now. But no one knows where Aaron is. He's completely alone. By the third day, Monday, Aaron tries to make a pulley system. He ties ropes around the boulder that's trapping his arm and uses the other end to try to lift it. But no matter how hard he pulls, the rock doesn't move. He even wraps the rope around his leg, putting all his strength into it. But again, nothing happens. The situation keeps getting worse. It's been 3 days, and his water supply is gone. Now that he has nothing else to do, he starts noticing every tiny thing, like a bird flying above the cliffs, insect crawling near him. He can't move to reach them, but he watches, waiting, thinking maybe he could catch one to eat. He also notices that sunlight only hits his trapped spot for about 15 minutes each day. After that, the shadows swallow everything again. By the end of the third day, Aaron is starving, weak, and exhausted. Out of desperation, he decides to do something unthinkable. He decides to cut off his hand. He ties his upper arm tightly to stop the blood flow. Then, taking his knife, he tries to cut through his skin. But the blade is already dull. It can't even pierce the thin layer of his flesh. Disappointed, frustrated, and in pain, Aaron looks into the camera and records himself saying, "Never buy cheap tools. They're useless, absolutely worthless." Another night passes. Lying there, Aaron starts remembering old memories, his family, his best friend, the times he laughed, the moments he took for granted. As he's lost in thought, dark clouds gather above, and soon it begins to rain. Since he ran out of water, he quickly opens his bottle to collect the rain. Water begins to fill the space where he's trapped. The level keeps rising until it starts to cover him. The water gets higher and higher. He's drowning now. But in the water, gravity is weaker. Heavy things can be lifted more easily. So, using all his strength, Aaron pushes against the boulder underwater. After tremendous effort, he manages to lift it. His hand finally comes free. He gasps in relief, stumbles out, and runs toward his car. He jumps in, starts the engine, and drives away from that cursed place. But suddenly, everything fades. It was just a dream. None of it really happened. He's still there, trapped between the rocks, screaming in despair. Days go by, 4 days now, and it's his 5th day being stuck. His mind begins to break. He talks to himself, laughs randomly, comments out loud like he's in a conversation. His mental balance is slipping. He says to himself, "If only I'd picked up my mom's call that day. If only I'd told her I was coming here, I wouldn't be trapped right now." He also remembers the shopkeeper from where he bought his hiking gear. If I had told him where I was going, he says, maybe he would have reported me missing by now. But he didn't tell anyone. No one knows where Aaron is. And now, he's all alone, fighting against time, nature, and his own mind. Because of this, someone would have eventually come looking for him. On the camera, Aaron speaks to his parents, saying, "Mom, Dad, I love you so much." He records all this because deep down, he has lost all hope of ever getting out alive. He's starving, dehydrated, and too weak to move. His body no longer has the strength it once did, and that massive rock, it won't budge even an inch. It's as if the mountain itself has imprisoned him. But once again, Aaron gathers all the courage he has left. He ties up his arm tightly, and instead of trying to cut through with the dull knife, he begins stabbing into his hand with the sharp end of the blade. He drives the knife so deep that it reaches the bone, and blood begins to pour out. But he can't go any further. Exhausted and in agony, he stops. Another day passes. By the 6th day, Aaron's condition is critical. He's incredibly weak, and he knows that if he doesn't get out soon, he's going to die. In that moment, he thinks to himself, maybe this rock was waiting for me all along. Since the day I was born, maybe this mountain pass was destined to be my final place. He carves on the rocks, RIP, along with his name and date of birth. He truly believes now that he's not getting out alive. His hope, his energy, his strength, all gone. He can barely move anymore. Then, the next day, when he regains a little bit of consciousness, he starts seeing visions. In one vision, he sees a small boy, his future son. In that vision, he's playing with the boy, laughing, happy. The vision fills him with powerful emotion. It awakens something inside him. Filled with a new strength, Aaron pushes his trapped arm in the opposite direction with all his might, and suddenly his bone snaps. He's broken his own arm. He takes the knife, now sharpened once again, and begins cutting through his flesh. Slowly, painfully, piece by piece, he separates his arm from his body. On the sixth day, Aaron sacrifices his hand and finally frees himself from the rock. Before leaving, he draws a picture of his trapped hand, the one still pinned under the boulder, as if to mark what he's leaving behind. Then, with great difficulty, he starts making his way out of the mountain pass. Outside, he finds a puddle of rainwater that had collected. Desperate, he bends down and drinks it greedily. After 6 days without food or water, every drop feels like life itself. He drinks as much as he can, then continues forward. Looking up, he sees a bird flying in the sky. The same bird he used to watch every day from where he was trapped. And today, he finally feels like that bird, free. But escaping that place is still not easy. The terrain is vast, rough, and barren. Yet even in unbearable pain, Aaron refuses to give up. He keeps walking one step at a time. Then, in the distance, he spots a family hiking nearby. Gathering the last of his strength, he calls out to them. They hear him, rush over, and quickly call for help. Soon, a rescue team arrives with a helicopter. Aaron is airlifted from the canyon and taken straight to the hospital. Later, we see scenes from the future. Aaron has recovered completely. The vision he saw of his future son actually comes true. 3 years later, Aaron meets a woman. They fall in love, get married, and have a baby boy, the same boy he saw in his vision during those desperate moments. In those 6 days, Aaron came face to face with death. But even in the darkest hours, he never gave up. His passion for life remained. He still climbs. He still hikes. But now, before every trip, he leaves a note telling exactly where he's going. And here comes the shocking truth. This story is based on real events. Yes, it's true. Aaron, in reality, Aaron Ralston, was trapped for 6 days in those mountain passes. He survived under impossible conditions, carving his name and date of birth on the rock because he truly believed he would die there. The rock that pinned him weighed around 360 kilograms. He had only a small amount of food and water. But the most inspiring part, he didn't give up. His willpower kept him alive for 5 days. And on the 6th day, when he thought it was over, some unseen strength, perhaps the vision of his future son, gave him the courage to do the impossible and free himself. If he had tried cutting his arm on the very first day, he might have bled to death. But by the 6th day, his body was so weak that when he finally cut it off, very little blood came out. And that's what saved his life. Even after losing his arm, he wandered for 4 more hours before being rescued. Aaron's story is a living example of the power of human will, of never giving up, no matter what. And with that, this incredible, true story comes to an end. Thank you for watching. And if you'd like to see more such movie explanations, don't forget to comment your favorite movie name below.